Cigar Snapshot, Episode 5. And welcome back to another episode of the Cigar Snapshot podcast. A different cigar podcast with episodes made to fit into your busy schedule. Just a reminder, you can find us online at www.cigarsnapshot.com. Bill Barris here once again to share my thoughts with you about a cigar. Today's episode of the podcast will feature a snapshot of the Quesada Seleccion Espana Robusto. This episode of the Cigar Snapshot podcast is brought to you by the Cigar Snapshot Advertising Department. Do you want to expose your cigar, product, or service to the Cigar Snapshot audience? Send an email to our advertising department at sales@cigarsnapshot.com for information. We look forward to discussing an advertising partnership with you. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed last week's episode where I featured the 1999 Montecristo Especiales. Our download figures have been pretty steady, and I appreciate every one of you listening. Now, I do have to ask everyone a favor. Now, don't worry. I'm not going to ask for money quite yet. I just have a couple things that I think that you could do that would greatly help out what I have going on here. First of all, please, please, please spread the word. I really want to build my listening audience, so please tell all of your cigar friends about the show and ask them to subscribe and listen. I'd really appreciate it. Second, I need your feedback. Please take a minute to send an email, or better yet, leave me a voicemail. You never know. It could be played on a future episode. You can also always go to www.cigarsnapshot.com and leave feedback on an episode. You can send an email or send an audio comment to feedback@cigarsnapshot.com. You can go to facebook.com/cigarsnapshot and leave a comment there. And don't forget about Twitter, @cigarsnapshot for show updates, and @maytagman1, which is my personal account. And we also have our voicemail feedback line, 209-432-3535. Also, now that we're on iTunes, please check us out there and give us a rating. That would really help us out. And now, let's get on with the snapshot. So the cigar selected today was the Quesada Seleccion Espana Robusto. The size of the cigar was 5 inches by 52 ring gauge. The wrapper was an Arapiraca from Ecuador. The binder was from the Dominican Republic. And the filler consisted of Connecticut Broadleaf, Dominican, and Nicaraguan tobaccos. Now, I found some information on this particular cigar at the SAG Imports website at www.sagimports.com. And what I found was that the Seleccion Espana was developed for the Spanish market to fill the demand for some alternatives to pricier Cuban cigars. The Quesada family worked with tobacconists from Spain to develop this cigar specifically and exclusively for the Spanish market. Fortunately, it's been making its rounds here in the United States as well, and I found out about this cigar through a lot of chatter on Twitter about how great this cigar was, so of course I had to get my hands on some and give them a try. In taking a look at the cigar pre-light, the wrapper had a beautiful light caramel color, and it was absolutely perfect. There are no veins, no blemishes, no problems at all. The cigar was very well packed. There were no hard or soft spots, and it had a perfect spring to it. The pre-light aroma had some very pleasant notes of cedar with some nice sweet and musky notes. The aroma at the very foot of the cigar had a molasses-like sweetness with some definite notes of cinnamon. The pre-light taste had a definite topsoil-like quality to it with some notes of cinnamon and a little bit of nutmeg in there as well. Upon lighting the cigar, it started right off with two very distinct flavor layers. There's a very nice creamy caramel character with a hint of spice that hit at the back of my tongue and at the very rear of my palate. What was interesting was that the attack was not sharp like black pepper, but it was rather a subtle, more of like a green chili type of spiciness. It was very slight, and it blended very well with the creamy caramel notes. Even though I was enjoying this cigar in the outside section of my herf quarters, where there was a steady breeze blowing, the burn remained absolutely razor sharp. The spiciness from the first third moved to a slight peppery type of spice, which also presented sharpness in the retrohale. In addition to the creamy caramel-like characteristics, a little bit of grassiness entered into the flavor profile as well. In the final third, the spiciness, though subtle, still mellowed out just a little bit. I also got a really nice caramelized sugar taste, and the nose was what I would best describe as kind of meaty. The body of the cigar built up to medium at the end, with the flavors never intensifying to the point of being harsh. I smoked this cigar until I burned my fingers, and it never became heated up or bitter at all. Overall, this is a very enjoyable cigar with a nice evolution of flavors. There's definitely some finesse in the blend. I recommend that you seek these out and give them a try if you can find them. Now, the Seleccion Espana is also available in a short Robusto, measuring 4 inches by 50 ring gauge, and a Corona, measuring 5.5 inches by 42 ring gauge. I've smoked and enjoyed samples of these as well, and look forward to getting my hands on more. Alrighty. Well, it seems like there are quite a few of you that are looking forward to the same IPCPR releases that I am. I received some feedback, and I thank you for that. And my list continues to grow, to be quite honest with you. And I will be sure to include some of these new releases in future episodes as they become available to me. This week, I do have a challenge for you. It's the $20 challenge. Here's the hypothetical situation. You find out that you will only be able to have one more cigar ever. Now, your best friend feels kind of bad for you, so he gives you a 20 spot to buy you that last cigar. My question for you, what do you buy with your $20? It's a $20 bill to spend on one cigar, last one ever. Give me a call and tell me what your last cigar will be, and tell me why. Leave me a voicemail at 209-432-3535. I'd love to get a few of these to play on the next episode. Alrighty. I think that'll just about do it for another episode of the Cigar Snapshot podcast. Thanks to each and every one of you for listening, and please share your feedback with me via comment, email, or voicemail. And if you have smoked a Quesada Seleccion Espana of any size, I would love to hear what you thought of it. I'll catch you next time, and remember, using a torch lighter too close to the tip of your nose may cause some discomfort. Until next time. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Cigar Snapshot podcast. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or compliments, I'd like to hear from you. Leave a comment at cigarsnapshot.com. Send an email to feedback@cigarsnapshot.com. Check us out on facebook.com/cigarsnapshot. Like us and leave a comment. Or call and leave your comment on the Cigar Snapshot voicemail feedback line at 209-432-3535.